Welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. I am Coach Julia, and today we're going to be doing more footwork. This one is from the US Figure Skating Test Track. We are going to be doing the 5-step Mohawk Sequence. This goes down one side of the rink, and you're going to do it one time so it doesn't lap the rink like some of the test tracks do. Let me show you what this looks like. So that is what that 5-step sequence looks like. Now this is in the USFS Standard Skating Skills Test at the pre-bronze level and the Adult Skating Skills Test at the bronze level. So standard pre-bronze, adult bronze of the US Figure Skating Skills Tests, formerly moves in the field. That's a lot, but I'll write it down in the description below in case you need a recap. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start in the opposite corner because we're going to take a few intro steps. Now, in any of the US Figure Skating Skills Tests, you have up to 7 steps that you can take as intro steps. You don't have to take all of them, but up to 7, okay? And the different patterns are really going to require a different number of intro steps. So for this one, I'm just going to do 4, and that should get me where I need to go. So we are going to be in one of the hockey circles for this one. This is where I'm starting. Now, different skaters with different amounts of power are going to maybe adjust this a little bit. But for now, I'm starting in one of the hockey circles. This is the right-handed Lutz corner, so that can give you some reference. I'm not going to be right on that dot. I like to stand kind of in this wedge where we have this red line. Now, my dad, hello Dad, he watches every single one of my videos, and last week commented that I use a lot of the hockey markings as references. And if you're in a rink that does not have hockey markings, what are you going to do? Well, you need to find some other frame of reference in the rink that kind of gives you a guide for where your axis lines are and what corners to stand in. You can still find a spot in the Lutz corner that's going to work for you. What's more challenging with any of these moves in the field tests or skating skills tests is that we don't have the markings on the ice that give us a good visual guide for a center axis. So that answer is for my dad, who asked me last week. All right, so we are going to take 4 intro steps. I'm going to go left, right, left, and then the right one is actually going to begin the pattern. So I guess it's 3 intro steps. You could take more, but you want to end where your right foot is stepping in line with the hockey dots. So again, a reference to hockey markings on the ice. At our rink, we have hockey markings, and so these red dots, there's 4 of them down the ice, and they give me a reference for where my center axis is going to be. So all of the half circles or lobes are going to come to this axis line, so lining up with these red dots. While I'm skating, I have one corner of my eye kind of referencing these dots as I skate, so I can try to finish each half circle in line with these red dots. So however many intro steps you do, you want to be ready to step with your right foot in line with this red dot, and that is the beginning of your first lobe. So again, we're going to start with the intro steps. I think I'll actually start on the other foot this time. So instead of pushing onto my left, I will start on my right. That way I will get those 4 steps. So I'll go right, left, right, left. Now I can start on my right foot. So we right to left. We're going to do an inside Mohawk, put the feet together, push back, do an outside Mohawk, put the feet together and slide the left one in front. So that's the whole 5 steps. Let's count it out together. So what you have is a forward inside Mohawk, a backward outside Mohawk, and a slide. You're going to do a right forward inside Mohawk. That's your steps 1 and 2. 1, 2. Put your feet together and you're going to do a right back outside Mohawk. That's steps 3, 4. Put your feet together and slide, and you're going to be on your right inside edge. Okay, so this is just, feels a little bit like ice dance. Slide. Okay, so your feet are together, nice and collected. You're going to slide your left close to in front of your right, and you're going to end up slightly on that right inside edge. Tip. So we have finished our first lobe with those right Mohawks. We're on our right inside edge with our left foot extended to the front. Now we're going to do the exact same feet, but mirror image. So we're going to make a lobe going clockwise now, and it's going to be left foot Mohawks. So I'm going to step onto my left forward inside edge, and I'm going to do a left inside Mohawk. That's steps 1 and 2. Our feet come together, we push back, and we're going to do an outside Mohawk, 3, 4. Put our feet together, and we're going to slide onto that left forward inside edge. So it's the same thing, just going the other direction on the other foot. So one more time through with those left side Mohawks. So we finished our first lobe of right Mohawks. We're going to go left inside Mohawk, left back outside Mohawk, feet together, slide that right foot forward. Then we're going to repeat it. Right, inside, right, outside, feet together, slide to our inside edge. Again, left, forward, inside, left, back, outside, slide the right, and one more lobe, our fifth one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, knowing the steps is one thing, but making it USFS passable is a whole different deal. So there's a few things that you really want to think about. First, we want really quiet feet. If you're out on a USFS test session, it doesn't apply quite so much if you're testing virtually, but if you're testing in person, you're usually the only one on the ice, and there's usually no music. So it's an environment very much like the one we're at today, and every single little scratch and wiggle that you make with your feet feels like it's being amplified, okay? It's just so loud on a very quiet session. So you want to work until your edges are really clean and until you're not dragging your toe picks at all. That means your weight really needs to stay in the middle of your skates. So think about keeping your upper body, your shoulders, your hips lined up with the center of your skate throughout every single element so that we don't get those toe drags, especially when we're going backwards. Another thing I want you to think about is the timing, the pace of this. We want all 5 steps to have the same value. And that means to me the same amount of time on the ice. So we don't want a couple very quick Mohawks when that's difficult and very long steps when it's easy. So for some of my students, I have them count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and this helps them even out all of the steps. So you can go like this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And doing that helps you make sure that every single step has the same amount of time, the same amount of value, makes it really, really even. And then you're not telling your judges which are your easy steps and which are your difficult steps. So this next little tip, this bit of advice, is going to be easiest if you do have some of those hockey markings. We have hockey markings and curling markings on our ice, so there's a lot of different things that you can use for a frame of reference. If you don't have any markings on your ice, then you are going to have to get really, really, really good at gauging the size of all your lobes yourself. But here we have a lot of markings, and so I'm going to show you what I give my students as reference points to make sure that everything stays very even. So this is a 5-lobe pattern. Now, there are lots of 5-lobe patterns in US figure skating, and they all have the same basic shape on the ice. You want your center pattern your center lobe to go across the center of the ice. So in a hockey rink, that means there's a red line right through the center of the ice. That's going to be your center lobe. So we kind of measure things based off that. So if you've noticed throughout this tutorial, I'm starting just to the right of one of the corner hockey dots. So this is the left side for Lutzers. So if you're a Lutz skater and you skate lefty, we're in the left Lutz corner. So I'm just to the right of that dot to start my lobe. If you're a little bit of a less strong skater, you might want to scooch up a little bit, but for me and my students, this is where I want them to start. So we do our first lobe starting just to the right, and we want to get, since we have curling circles, I'm going through the edge of these black lines. So there are these little black lines on our ice for curling. If you don't have those curling circles that you want to end, oh gosh, how many feet is that from the blue line? I'm definitely at least, that's like 7 feet, maybe more from the blue line. All right, so I'm not even between the dots, but I'm definitely good number of feet away from the blue line. All right, I just usually reference these black lines. I want to be close to the edge of the black lines for the curling circles. Now we're going to start our next one, and we want to get just to the other side of the second hockey dot. That's going to give us the next lobe, the second lobe. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here's that hockey dot. This makes it so that I can make my third lobe go right across the red center hockey line. So we're going to make it really nice and even. So if you get to the far side, the left-hand side of the second hockey dot, it gets you in the right place for this third lobe. So we're going to perfectly clear this and end our third lobe on the right side of the third hockey dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I've finished my third lobe, and I am to the right of the third hockey dot. Okay, so I have perfectly cleared that red line in the center with my center lobe. Okay, so now we're just mirroring. We're going to try to get to the middle of those curling circle black lines, or just a bit past the blue hockey line. I know this one's a little bit difficult for me to explain to you. Okay, so we're going to do lobe number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in the middle of these black hockey lines to the left of our blue, sorry, we're in the middle of the curling lines to the left of the blue hockey. And now we're going to do our final lobe, and we want to get to the same spot on the right side or the other side of that last hockey dot. So we have our fifth lobe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here you can see I'm in the exact same spot on the opposite corner of the rink. So now I am just past my red hockey dot on the complete opposite side. So we have made a nice mirror image pattern with this 5-step Mohawk sequence. Alright skaters, I hope you enjoy that 5-step Mohawk sequence. Anyone who is part of the US Figure Skating program is going to test it at some point, since it's part of both a standard test track and the adult test track. So get out there and give it your best. And of course, all of you, those of you around the world who are not part of USFS, can still work on this fun, smooth, and challenging Mohawk sequence. If you enjoyed this one, please do give us that thumbs up, and as always, I'm looking forward to reading all your comments in that section down below. If you haven't done so yet, then hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can see all my videos when they come out. Happy skating, and I'll see you next time.